Before there was Benoit Blanc, there was Joe Bang. Okay. I'm not saying is that his name, Joe Bang?
Joe Bang.
That's what I said.
Joe
Whatever. Here's the thing. Daniel Craig is a British man.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's weird. It's not like, okay, British people have been doing American accents forever, right? But like here's this British man who's done this like Southern, completely Kentucky Fried accent.
Foghorn Leghorn motherfucker.
Not once though. But it's weird that it's happened twice. What? Like, does he show up to movies now and he's all like, guys, can we please?
I've been working on this accent.
I've been working on this for a while. Can I be Southern? I just want to be a Southern belle. Like, please.
Well, can you blame him?
I mean, and again, that's why I had to ask, like, did you guys watch? Have you guys obviously seen Knives Out? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, have you seen Logan Lucky? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well then let me just let that hit you. Like, let me hit that hit you before. I'm not gonna tell you, and then you end up seeing him, like you meet him, and he's just there he is with that accent. I'm just like, what the fuck?
It's really interesting too because you have his weird Foghorn Leghorn accent. You have Adam Driver doing like a West Virginia, like an Appalachian coal miner kind of accent, and then you have Channing Tatum, who is from Pullman, Alabama. So he sounds like he could be from my neighborhood. I'm like, what? These are supposed to be people that are related or in close proximity, and they are all over the place.
Like, it's because it's still Southern via Britain. Like it's still his idea of what like Southern accents are, and then
I picture the whole thing going down because. Adam Driver, I can see going, okay, this is set in Virginia, so I'm going to get like a Virginia accent going on. And he, studies it or something.
Yeah, he looks it up and is all like, all right, let me get the accent.
And Channing Tatum's like, well, I'm from Alabama. I got this.
South is South, right?
And then Daniel Craig, I'm from Britain. I got this too. Whatever. Fuck it.
Like I'm pretty sure I heard some like Tennessee accents in there as well. Like it's such a weird amalgamation of like where all these accents are from, but like I don't care. Like it's one of those things where it's such a silly premise, and I don't know what it is, but like it must have been okay, going to the clap, yeah. It must have been from since Army of the Dead. It's just been like after we had such a shit heist movie, I'm like Cruella being a surprise heist movie, I was just like, I gotta tell them about Logan Lucky. I don't know if they've seen it because that's another heist movie that I think is actually pretty good. Like, I think it's a really good heist movie, and also Daniel Craig has a Southern accent in it. Like, what more do you want?
Spoilers for the movie. I think it was a good heist movie.
Yeah, it's a heist movie.
It is a heist movie.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, let's go over what do you feel was your favorite part there, Fawn?
Other
than Daniel Craig's accent, because we're gonna keep talking about how absolutely insane it is, but like it's great.
I don't know. I think just I went into this movie thinking like I'm not gonna like this movie. It's gonna be dumb. When Daniel Craig. Like, when I saw that character that Daniel Craig played, I didn't know that was him for like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. And then I'm like, why does this guy look like Daniel Craig? And I looked it up. And I'm just like, oh, okay, he's doing a Southern accent thing.
Again.
I don't know, like, I guess I went into it thinking it was going to be like, I don't know, like, I watched it thinking like these guys are dumb. They're gonna get caught. And then it turned out to be more than what I thought it was gonna be. Yeah.
It does a little bit of a prestige, to throw back to Nolan. where he kind of has you looking one direction, but then reveals the other. But then it has that last scene, which I really liked. After me jumping ahead, but after them seemingly getting away with the whole heist, for her to just be sitting there across the bar, slowly chilling, making her drink. What a great last shot.
Well, here's the thing that I find really, really weird about Steven Soderbergh. It's like I like a lot of the stuff that he's done.
Mhm.
Like Magic Mike. Clearly, he worked with Channing Tatum. He knows what the fuck how to do dramatic shit there. And then like he did Ocean's 13, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 11. Like he knows heist movies. Like he did the ocean movies, and like Aaron Brockovich and like Magic Mike, he knows how to do these drama and like relatable things. He does a lot of things that I like. So whenever you take this premise about these like seemingly pretty stupid like Southern boys being like, I need money. We need to get money. And it's like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna rob NASCAR. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of like, okay.
I think my favorite bit in the whole movie is when the press, I think it's the FBI agent. It may be the press, but somebody refers to them as Ocean 7-Eleven. Fucking died. Like, one, it's kind of hilarious to reference anything Ocean's 11 in a Soderbergh heist movie. Like,
right,
it's so on the nose.
It's so meta. It's meta.
It's kind of great. I don't know. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that joke. That makes the whole movie worth it. Like, I would call the movie a success just for that one joke.
It's good how much like, because I always think about again, you go back to very classic Hitchcock, where he talks about suspense and tension, where it's not just that something's going to happen. It's about like, what does the audience know? How much information does the audience get to, or what are they privy to in terms of what's happening? Like, you don't know exactly what like Daniel Craig is trying to do. You don't understand what Channing Tatum's character is trying to do. Like, you have on the surface what the main plan is, and things like are unfolding, and then things get changed. Like, that's what I like about this movie, where they have the big, the things go wrong thing. Because you have all the planning, and then what things go wrong? It gets moved a week up. Like, right. and now it's a big thing. It's like the big events, and it's like, oh shit! Like, I like this twist. Now, what does that change in the plan? Like, what does it do? That, and it's such a decent heist movie that I keep thinking about what we've been doing for the last like a few episodes when we talk about heist movies, and it's like, God, Snyder just did not get the point. Like, no, fuck. There's so many movies you could have watched, like, to learn. Like, Cruella clearly learned something. Like, that team clearly knew what they were doing to have like the heist movie like snuck in there.
Right.
But like, I don't know, the cast was, I think, perfect. It was funny. Like, because and then like everyone had their own thing that didn't necessarily define them, but it was just part of it,
Right.
Like Craig with a Southern accent, he just loved being that guy, I guess. But
I think one of the interesting things with Soderbergh too, and a lot of people, can't pull this off, but like no one's the other one who does this really well. But every bit person in this is somebody huge. I mean, you have Katie Holmes playing the ex-wife.
Yeah.
You've got Catherine Waterston just kind of popping in and showing off her jawline for a minute. Dwight Yoakam's in there. Seth MacFarlane is the fucking NASCAR driver. I didn't even catch that the first.
Yeah, I didn't.
Come on, that was good. You have
I had no idea.
I didn't even know he was in it until I checked.
Catch people. No, Sebastian Stan's obviously there. Like Bucky Barnes is driving. Who
Bucky
cares?
Barnes is a NASCAR driver.
Seth MacFarlane actually alluded. Shocked.
Oh.
Well done, Seth.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know if you noticed this, but one of Daniel Craig's like cousins, it was Jack Quaid as well.
Yes,
Like
yes.
that's another one I think is like really
And
great.
and Brian Gleason, like I recognize him. I'm like, that's A. Gleason. It's
That's a
not Domhnall, but that's A.
Gleason.
Gleason.
That is
I went
a
and looked it
Gleason.
up, and it turns out it is A. Gleason.
In
Domhnall's his brother. Brendan's his dad. So like, see, I can spot people. I can spot lineage, but Seth MacFarlane actually beat me. So
Jim
yeah,
O'Hare as Cal as the boss, the foreman.
yeah, I
Uh,
dug that.
like again, it's like all these people that like you will know, but I don't know. It like to me, like clearly they all wanted to be part of like a project that like was interesting because this movie is just one of those movies that had to be like, oh, you gotta see it. You gotta see it. Like I
Yeah.
saw it in theaters, right? And it was one of those movies that like the theater was mostly empty, and I was like, why does no one know about this? Why is no one watching? Well, this is great. Like, what the fuck is happening around me? Like I don't know. Maybe 2017 was a different year, but like I saw this movie and I was like, you have Channing Tatum, like, and he has a limp, and like that's a major plot point, and like the reason why he gets fired. But then you have Adam Driver who is missing an arm, and then they go into exactly like where he lost it, like all that stuff. Like I was like, what the fuck? Daniel Craig's apparently an explosives expert, and like
Sure.
they're like,
And
what do
actually,
you? And
he starts
actually,
bullshitting, and you're like, okay. And it turns out, no, man actually knows
Mhm.
exactly what he's doing. Like, God, damn.
Like the fact that he starts writing out formulas on the fucking wall, you're just kind of like, I'm glad that they took the time to sit there and be like, yes, this stupid shit that I was just doing had a purpose. Like this had a reason for me to be doing this. I don't know, like the first time they send the bomb out, and then like it gets sent back, and like it just hits Adam Driver, and then he's like, "Don't breathe." I'm not. Like,
I have known people very much like that.
like, oh, I did it one twist too many. Like, I did it too tight. Like it's just like the movie was funny. It was clever. Like it just has a lot going for it.
I'm trying to
But
see what it launched aside. It debuted next to the Hitman's Body.
oh, that blew up too. So
Anything in August did well. I'm looking at it and like the biggest thing on this list that I recognize other than that is Ingrid Goes West, which is not a particularly big movie. I guess it just wasn't much of a film time.
like that's the thing that gets me though. It's kind of like it's a Steven Soderbergh movie. His movies get a lot of he's made hits.
I didn't know it was a Soderbergh movie until you recommended it, and then I looked at it. I'm like, oh, Soderbergh doing a heist at the nice thing with rednecks. I'm in. Like, I don't know why it wasn't on my radar. It just wasn't.
And again, it's one of those films where I'm like, it has so many people in it that I'm surprised it didn't get like just purely guys, go look at Adam Driver. He's doing a southern accent. Like everyone had that thing about Knives Out about Daniel Craig. Oh my god, Daniel Craig's doing a southern accent. I'm all like, he's done it already.
Same premise.
I was like,
I think people are a little worried when they see a lot of big people in things. Because sometimes you just get a whole bunch of names to mask the fact that your movie's a complete shit show. You know what I mean?
I mean, what was rom-coms do it all the time?
Yes.
Rom-coms
do the whole let's just get everybody. It doesn't matter if it's bullshit. We just want as many people on the list and kill as many people as possible.
And what does the trailer sound like? Starring Robert De Niro, Glenn Close, and you're just like, oh god, here's the fucking like list of motherfuckers who are in this movie.
Billy Crystal, LeBron James,
Susan Sarandon. And it's just like,
Nick King.
Aziz Ansari. And introducing Ryan Reynolds. Like, wait, he's been in movies for fucking like years now. Introducing him. Shut up. We're introducing
We didn't introduce him the first time. We're making up for it.
But yeah, I think it's weird that Daniel Craig's and everyone else's southern accent is so like good for what it is, and then I don't know what the fuck Seth MacFarlane is doing in the goddamn movie as far as accent goes.
I'm so into it though. Like, he's just playing full coked up NASCAR driver.
NASCAR owner, like not even a driver. Like
right.
he's just the asshole who owns an energy drink company.
Right. I really liked the performance. I was surprised it was Seth. I really was happy with that.
Sebastian Stan being this like super prim, like no, my body's like I have the well-oiled machine, like I can't eat anything, like I eat perfect amount of carbs, and like that's exactly the fuel that I need. And then he just like passes out in the fucking car crash.
Oh, hold up. Time out. We have to talk about this. Why the fuck does Jeff Gordon look like Ben Shapiro? Honest to God, when I see him in that for a brief second, I thought they had Ben Shapiro on there and not fucking Jeff Gordon.
I need to see
yeah, what are you talking about?
Just look at Wikipedia page. It's a great example.
Oh God.
Right? Like, good old bench here in about 10, 15 years?
Oh, shit.
That's okay. Yeah, there's a bit
It was upsetting.
It's a bit of a Shabibo.
Oh, no. Back to Shabibo in this. Oh, it's Jeff Gordon. Never mind.
Hey, Kay, we're talking about Logan Lucky right now. But Ben Shabibo in a race car.
Talking about Ben Shabibo in his NASCAR career.
I think it was just it's a clever use of setting. It's a clever use of like you let the actors have fun doing their accent thing. Like there's a lot of accent work. You have the and again, they don't make it's something that I do like about in movies, right? Where you have not the non-biological father, right? Who's with Katie Holmes. Like he's kind of a dopey dipshit, but he's not a bad guy. Like they don't paint again, and it makes me think of like how weird it was to me in Liar Liar, where they try to make him seem like he's not a good guy, but he's not a bad guy.
He's obviously a bad father figure because he can't do the claw.
Like he's not his dad and the same slapsticky guy. That makes me a bad father figure. It's like I get it. You love your dad, and like I get that. Like, but you don't paint this guy to be a dickhead. He's not a dickhead. Like
that's the thing that I think they've largely stopped doing in movies. It's a really lame trope. I don't like that one much. That's another trope I don't like, which we might get to in a future episode.
Go on.
Killing the bird to show that you're a bad guy. You don't have to keep killing birds to show you don't have to set an entire lorikeet aviary on fire to show you're a bad guy.
Listen, we're kicking the dog is just a cheap and easy trope, all right?
Look, we saved the cat to prove we're good and we killed the bird to prove we're bad. We get it. Leave the birds alone. I don't like birds dying. I'm over it.
God damn it. Yeah, I think with this though, like they I like that he has his own kids and like it's like this nice like joined family unit thing. He's kind of a dopey asshole who thinks he knows cars because he owns a car lot. Right. And then you have the sister know about cars. Right. Yeah, like actually know about and actually is not like
impressed.
She's competent in a way that is not like too show offy. It's just like, yeah, this person would know cars.
I got slight My Cousin Vinny vibes. So a little Marissa Tomei in there.
Right, but but here's the thing. The thing I like about it it wasn't the like climax culmination of the entire thing that, oh, she knows cars so well, therefore like that car knowledge is what saves the day. Like, no, she just does.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just handy.
that's
I mean,
just
it's very handy.
it's very nice, and it's good. It means that again, this person is not dumb, is not incompetent, isn't sitting there talking about men. Like, again, it passes the Bechdel test in that sense, where it's just like, no, this person just a pretty badass fucking character, knows cars, like gives the new husbands, shit. Like, you're like, oh yeah, I see all your cars are automatic. You don't know how to drive stick shit, you shithead. Like, oh, I can drive stick. I don't know what you're talking about. I can drive stick. Like, it's funny. Like, there's humor derived from it, and it's not just like, oh man, I need a man. Like, no. None of that shit matters. But I don't know. Like, every single character has a thing that you can like point to is like good. And like it's solid. But I don't know. As far as this movie goes, like I just really wanted to throw it to you guys to see how you guys,
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
What you took away from it. Then I watched it in theaters, and I'm like, I need more people to watch this fucking movie. It's so good.
It was surprisingly heartfelt. The scene where his daughter is performing and she nixes her initial plan and sings "Take Me Home, Country Roads" like actually made me cry. It could mostly be the hormones, but it made me cry. Like, out of nowhere, you're just getting this touching moment. You're like, well, shit, I was expecting the goofy NASCAR shit. Like, get back to the heist. I didn't sign up for feels here. No, I really enjoyed it though. It was a fun movie to watch. Not every movie is fun to watch, and every heist movie is worth going back to watch a second time. And I think I would probably watch this a second time.
That moment reminded me of Little Miss Sunshine. I'm not even gonna lie. It had
It had a little bit of Sunshine feel to it,
where they perform and like everyone joins in, and it's like just a feel good moment of the moment. And again, this does not like. But again, just like unlike My Cousin Vinny, unlike Little Miss Sunshine, this character thing has nothing, like the outcome of this has nothing to do with the actual like main story. It just continues to add layers. Like the kid had
it's helpful but not vital.
Right. But it just colors everything so perfectly. Cause it's like, this is what like builds this world. You have like good at cars, the cousins being for some reason like it has to be morally right to them. Like, it's such a weird moment where they're just kind of like, you know what our conditions were.
The morality clause.
The morality clause of a heist.
It does a really good job of characterizing them though. Like, they're not totally bad guys, but they're obviously not opposed to doing bad stuff. They just need to lie to themselves first.
Right.
And for some reason that makes it okay for them. They're maybe a little lower on the thinky food chain, but bless their hearts. They do the job. I did enjoy it being Jack Quaid.
They try.
Again, just even with the small bit parts that were nobody then, they still end up being somebody later on. Again, I don't know if you mentioned, but Hilary Swank, I love Hilary Swank. Anything, especially.
I mean,
really fun.
That's where I found, again, the movie just seemed to have a lot of fun. Like, there's fun moments. Like when Daniel Craig's changing in the back seat, he's like, don't get no peek now. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck, Daniel Craig? Like, what is happening in this fucking movie? I guess into a more spoilery level. We'll spoil the end of this. The end of the movie. So the whole movie, they've talking about the Logan curse. Like, is the Logan curse real? Blah, blah. This happens to this family member. So, like, in the end, it's kind of like, and then everything worked out, but then you have that moment where it's sort of a semi-ambiguous ending because the investigation's over and this and that is done. But now you have this FBI agent just hanging around. Like, does that mean, like, I guess the movie doesn't answer it, which is fine. Like, do you think that means, like, they're gonna get caught, the curse is real, they're fucked,
Well,
or
let me preface this by saying this is an Inception ending issue, and the actual answer is it doesn't fucking matter. That's not the point.
right, of course. Like again, I love the ambiguous ending, but you think that
That being said, they got fucking caught. Like within a day, they were caught. Like I really do think that that's what the natural progression would be. I like that they, I mean, they thought they were really thorough. Like, oh yeah, I waited till my phone got cut off. That I thought that was like a really clever bit, like funny, awesome. But you don't really ever get away with it. Like, not something like that, and people like this. So they're going to start being less careful immediately. They're already being less careful. They're already talking about it in broad daylight in the bar around people. I mean, they're obviously not paying attention to who's there. They get caught immediately. That to me is the story we're telling, is that even though they've overcome the curse, they haven't really. They just once again thought they did.
To me, it's like
Because
they
that is
delayed the curse.
That is the Logan curse, is to think you got away with it this time just to have not. That's what I think would be next to happen, personally.
Fall, what do you think happened? You think they got caught? You think they got away with it? You think it's going to be ultimately?
I'm pretty sure they got caught. Like, yeah, like kind of what Nick said. It's just they're already getting to a point where it's like, oh, we can just talk about it now because the investigation is over. But I don't think no investigation is ever truly over. Like it'll probably, I don't know. Like I guess it doesn't like
again, part of me,
they're not going to pay taxes on it. So
yeah,
I mean,
there's
they got
part
a
of
few
me.
months tops.
There's a part of me that is like, of course it's gotta
like
this,
I
this
want them
obsessed.
to get away.
This woman's obsessed. Like it was the insurance company's already paid out. Like no, like everyone else has already moved on. And like this person can be like, oh look, but they're buying stuff. It's like, well, you still work. Like what?
Isn't that kind of the theme? I mean, the through line for the whole movie is kind of obsession. It's the Logan's obsession with both breaking the curse and with getting the big score. Like, there might be like a little white whale theme in there somewhere. Like she's kind of taking on her own obsession as part of.
I mean,
she's
Clyde's still working at the bank. I mean, at the bar.
She's
right?
almost cursed by the Logan curse too. Like it almost bleeds off onto other people. You get absorbed into it. It's a black hole. You're in the accretion disk of the Logan curse.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's one of those movies that, because it's a heist movie, because it's this and that, like it's hard to talk about it and like without like completely not necessarily ruining it, because it's funny. It has a lot of comedic moments. Like it's a clever use of the heist movie. Clever use of setting, like robbing a NASCAR event. Like that's not typical.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody trying to rob money from a NASCAR event. I don't know how frequently it happens, if at all.
Probably never.
I mean, to that extent, never. Stealing from like a cash heavy event like that probably happens constantly.
The thing that I find like weird, because now I got to go back to talking about Army of the Dead. So once again, it picks Vegas because Vegas is, of course, like a standard heist location. You have casinos, you have money, lots of money, lots of prestige, lots. There's a lot of gangster history there. There's a lot there.
But again, it's the cash nature. Like Vegas isn't even really that big on cash anymore. It's largely digital. But when you do heist movies, it's still all cash. You still people playing with cash at the tables, even though it doesn't happen anymore. The illusion of Vegas as a heist destination is built on the idea of cash. That's what makes the sporting event idea interesting. Is if you just go and knock out the communication equipment, they shift to all cash, and suddenly you have a lot of that stuff coming in. And for some huge event, I mean, I don't know if Charlotte Speedway has an actual system like that. Like the amount of cash drops you'd have to do on Memorial Day race weekend like that would be huge. there would be a ton of cash just floating around. It'd be easy for somebody to just lose track of it.
And it's the reason why, again, I like whenever they're doing the investigation at the end, where they're just kind of like, how'd you come up with an actual number if you didn't know? And it's kind of like,
we estimated based off of last year's total and this year's increased projection revenue.
Like, we also had receipts and stuff. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
even the guy didn't have like an answer. He was like, "Oh, I'm not an accountant. I can't give you that answer."
Yeah, like, I don't fucking know. Like,
we were talking to Elle, was like, "Is that not suspicious?" And I'm like, "That's the answer I would give if you asked me something about my company's like finances. I'm not the accountant. I don't fucking know. I'm not telling you because I'm, trying to hide anything. I just don't know. It's a job."
Like, and even then, like, the FBI would have forensic accountants going through all that shit, and like, you kind of have, like, there's a point where they're kind of like, here's where you probably were. Here's a range, and then based on like last year, based on
Certainly
attendance,
the insurance company is going to do an audit. You're just not going to be like, "Oh, you lost this much.
Oh, here's millions of dollars.
I'm just going to write 30 million. Okay, I'm just going to write that down here, and no need to verify. And cool. All right, your check is in the mail. Like,
check's in the mail, dude.
oh.
Like,
that part I didn't quite understand. I think at that part though, it's really just Swank's character is just grasping at straws.
Right, exactly.
He just asks dumb questions and see if anybody falters, and he's like, "I don't fucking know, dude."
Like, what do you want from me?
I didn't steal it.
Like,
I don't want to steal it.
Like, legit, what do you want from me? Like, do you think that I'm part of it? Like, what the fuck? Like, it was such a great like moment where you're just like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want an answer from me? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you obsessive bitch. Like, she's just like, how'd you come up with that number? It's like, I didn't. Like, why would you think that how much do you think you made? Probably 30 million. What do you want? 90 million. Can I get $90 million like in cash, please?
Right. Okay. I don't know, man. The guys over at Crawford came up with some figure and sent it over, and the lawyers dealt with it. You go ask them. I don't fucking.
Yeah, like, but to me, like, it used the setting well, where like, again, Army of the Dead picks Vegas, and then like does like the only thing interesting that it does for Vegas is the tiger zombie, and like other than that, like, I have to go like, well,
kind of a dated reference again, if we're honest.
Yeah, it's like Siegfried and Roy are no longer even doing things.
The Tigers are literally in Cincinnati. I liked it at one point when the security guards are running around trying to figure out where the smoke's coming from, and they run into some random person who they don't recognize, who's not supposed to be there, and they're just like,
"You can't smoke in here.
Any smoke?" No. No, like even before they find the guy that's actually smoking. Like,
okay.
They just find people in a place they're not supposed to be when they know that there's an alarm going off and there's smoke everywhere. They're just like, "Hey, you smell any smoke anywhere? You seen anything weird? Like, maybe them. Maybe them. Like, back me up on this." Security guard.
Okay. But again, if you were a security guard for a gigantic venue like that, where there's so much support staff, it's a big weekend, you probably brought in more people than you ever need to handle everything. Someone taking out garbage would not seem out of place to me.
Okay, but in my life experience, it's not a Charlotte Coca-Cola 600, but during every collegiate sporting event I ever took part in, which was 60 plus, I had to have credentials to get on the field. And if I didn't have them, I would get accosted every time. And that's just going from like locker room area to the field area. Not saying every event's like that, but certainly if UAB versus Florida is like that, I think the Coca-Cola 600 is going to be pretty dense. So yes, again, as a former security guard, I would want you to check that out. That's your job. Ask for credentials. It's not hard.
So at my job, I know like most of the employees who throw out all the trash at that place that I work at. So like I talk to them, I know who they are. So every once in a while I'll get like, I don't know, somebody walking up to like the dumpster and like throwing out like boxes, and I know that they don't work there. So I have to tell them, hey, like, you can't just like throw out your trash here. Because businesses need those trash cans.
Right. Somebody's
that means, yeah. So with that, like, if I see like people walk up to it and they're just like throwing away like fast food bags. I don't really do anything about it.
Right.
It's more just like if they're dumping like things that obviously aren't meant to be dumped in those dumpsters by people I don't recognize, then it becomes like a concern.
Yeah,
But if it's
I understand like asking for like credentials, but like I feel like they probably would have covered that maybe. Like
I think they should have been like, hey, kind of like I see your
and they
IDs or
just kind of like
something.
real quick flash it and then move on.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
not like anybody's even looking. It's just to see if you comply and act weird about it. That's all. That's all security guards are. Is theater. It's to
Right, fine.
present
It's just
an
theater.
obstacle.
Yeah, like
You know,
if anything in that situation, I would have just like said like, oh, there's a few people here throwing out trash. That's it.
what crime is Fought gonna prevent?
Well, even then, you're
Exactly.
just like these guys have one of those carts that are like you see people throwing trash out, right? Anything you'd be like, hey, like what are you up to? And like, oh, we're new, but we're taking out the trash. Oh, okay. Like, do you see anything suspicious? Okay. Like,
Okay,
well,
but that's at least doing your job. Like again, we're missing the point, obviously. But just to have this intellectual debate, like I in my job for the shipping thing that I do, that we're going to mention specific something, I have to check IDs. As I said, I do. Most people don't because it's just theater, but I do ask only because if you're there with a whole box full of weed you're trying to ship out, and I go, "Can I see your ID?" Oh shit, I left it at home, and you disappear. Like I don't fucking care. I don't even look at it. What do you show me? I just need you to show me and comply. That's just the rule. I don't have a choice.
I don't know. I think that like you're right that like that's a small oversight, but like I like when they find the guy who's smoking, like just the way he's just like, yo, my 15's not up. My 15's my 15. What do you want me to walk down all the way outside, then and then walk back? Like, no, I'm not doing that shit. Like,
I got 4 minutes left on my 20. That's why they call it a 20.
That's why they call it a 20. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Yeah, plays it really well. Plays it real well. And that's the key to pulling off a heist like that, is to really sell it by acting like you were just
you belong.
bored. And not even that, but like if you put on that you were just like, you cannot be bothered, this is so obnoxious, I can't believe I have to do this, people will do whatever to get you to just leave. Like, it's the funniest thing. You can get away with so much shit.
It's also why I think that this works, because like I think about like Ocean's 11 and how they need a specialized person for the job and this and that, and they need like this seems more doable in terms of like what you need to, you just need to like rent some equipment, really. Like you get the air pump, and you have the guy that knows explosives, like crack it open.
They
So you
didn't
can
even
get to
rent
it.
that equipment. That was just the equipment that was there. They were just
Like
with it,
a lot of it just came from
like
knowledge of knowing that what they had at their job site.
Yeah. It's one of those heists that's the only kind of conceivable heist that could work. Because there have been like weird, crazy heist type things over the course of human history that pan out. The only way it ever works out is if you have somebody on the inside who happens to be at the right place at the right time, the only person, or one of very few people who could ever be that linchpin. That's the only way it can work. You can bust somebody out of prison if you have somebody who's already broken out of that prison once, and you got a guard on the inside and know somebody who can fly a helicopter. Then it's easy. You know? Just do it. But most of us don't have those resources, so it's not quite something we can pull off.
Also, like if you know the system well enough, the warden would never call like an external like help, because like the reputation of the prison is just that important. Like we don't have fires here at the prison. It's all like, yeah.
Which again, a weird parallel to the other movie that I just watched recently, which is the Suicide Squad, with having somebody who's talking very openly about their prison's health record not being great.
Oh, you're talking about when Waller says like we have the highest like death rate.
Like, in case you didn't catch it, what she's tacitly saying is, oh yeah, all these people dying as part of the Suicide Squad really fucks up our rating, because that's not a real thing that we can acknowledge. So these are all just random deaths that are happening in the prison. Belle Reeves is a bad prison.
I would assume that a group of a group of criminals who are like specialized to be like, if people were dying in Arkham, I don't think that people would be like too upset.
Right.
Like you're
I
like,
mean, given the amount of people or the type of people they keep in there.
right?
Well,
That's
especially
what
because they
I'm
just
saying.
keep
That's what I'm saying.
redoing it. Like
Like,
Arkham is a temporary holding facility where you put all of the crazy people so that when they get let out, it's all at once. Like you actually have a more successful Gotham if you just like did a catch and release program with all these villains and didn't release them all at once. At least then you would kind of stem the flow. We'd have like a dam, and keep the flow to a minimum.
now,
Just throw that out there.
or what you do is you ship them to other prisons in other parts of the country. Like, just split them up so they don't talk to each other, so they don't sit there and scheme and fucking figure shit out. Like, split them up, maybe, because it seems like they work together pretty frequently. They work together pretty frequently.
Get into the whole debate about what you should do to make the Batman world work more functionally. Like there's a lot to talk about.
I guess
Maybe fewer batterings and more public services.
I'm not being that realistic, because like remember, there must always be a Batman, because like apparently like Gotham is like built over this like portal to hell, and like it's this weird energies, and therefore there will always be evil, and therefore there must always be something to check that evil, and it's just like,
honestly, like that's not too far off the actual, at least like some canons. Like if you start talking like the Court of Owls and stuff, that's pretty much what that is.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's that where their explanation is supernatural. Therefore, like the logical things wouldn't work regardless.
Right. There's like a Lazarus pit or something, so Gotham's just kind of cursed. So like whatever. Fuck.
It's the reason why the
Speed Force. I don't know.
The Wayne family, like even with their monorail and all the other shit, it just wasn't enough. It's just never enough because evil. Because it's just evil.
There's even the Waynes were living out in the Palisades, barely even in the city limits. Now we're doing really deep Dark Knight callbacks.
Oh yeah, how far can you live out and still be considered part of the city? Like,
shouldn't you know your city territory, dude?
Your jurisdiction.
Dark Knight's such a good movie, though. We're about to go rewatch those, I think, this weekend, because Elle has not seen all of them. It's like an adult. We gotta do that.
That makes sense. Batman Begins came out in 2005.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember watching Batman Begins, but I remember the other two.
It's long.
It's good though.
I like good, but it's long, and you're just like,
he makes long Batman movies
because it has like 2 movies in it. That's the thing.
It basically
is 2 movies.
I mean, he finds like Year One and what's the other story he does for that? It's not Long Halloween. That's Dark Knight. He combines 2 different stories in every one of those Batman movies, though. You have Nightfall gets tossed in for Bane. It's just stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. It's just the first one just like does feel its length a little bit, just a little bit.
It's 2 hours 30.
Yeah, and I don't feel it at all because the tension just keeps ramping and just ratchet that tension, just ratchet it more, just ratchet it up. But like,
Batman Begins is only 10 minutes shorter. I wouldn't have guessed that.
And it feels 30 minutes longer for some reason to me. I don't understand.
It really does.
Because it's just like them talking, and I like it, but like, it's just a lot of talking and a lot of like philosophical, like, ideas. And I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things where I love it because it sets up things so well, but it has to go into it has to go into so much. It has to go into like what makes Bruce Wayne, what makes him become Batman, like what is the time between his parents' death and now, the whole thing with Joe Cool, like all this stuff has to be fully set up, and then it's like, oh, by the way, Ra's al Ghul is gonna fucking just come back and be like, Goblin's of Blight, we're gonna fucking destroy it. And now you have to Batman it up, and it's like, and now the next movie begins. Like, god damn it! Like, all right, another movie, another movie has just begun. Like, we
really would like to have seen what the 3rd movie was going to be prior to Heath Ledger's untimely demise.
Oh, right. It would have been. I'm sure it would have been completely fucking different.
He said he had a specific thought for the Joker as a third movie, and obviously that's not what happened.
Right.
So I'd just be curious to see what the script looked like. Yeah.
Well, so here's a weird hypothetical random question.
Okay.
Going back to Logan Lucky, obviously. So in Army of the Dead, they clearly already had it planned out for some reason. It's already fucking basically almost done to have Army of Thieves, a prequel to it with the Safecracker. Who in Logan Lucky would you have wanted to see? Like, here's a standalone like prequel movie for like a Joe Bang bank robber. Like, what made him get caught? Like, kind of movie, or
See,
like,
I think the intrigue for characters like that comes from the vagueness. You don't know if he's actually done anything badass or not. Like when he starts making the explosive, you're not really sure if it's going to work or not, and that's kind of where that mystique comes from. I don't need to see more Joe Bang to understand Joe Bang. I don't feel like I need to see more of the Logans either. Really, like
I don't need to see Army of Thieves either. Bam.
Right.
Bam! That's what I was trying to get at.
There we go.
That's what I was trying to get at. You don't need it.
I can't think of anybody that
Fuck you, Snyder.
Maybe the Sebastian Stan character. Maybe I'd like to see like an origin of him that's just Speed Racer.
Just him working his way up to try to get a sponsor, and there's Seth MacFarlane man like, I'll sponsor you. Like,
no, I want you just literally. I want you to just superimpose him and Seth MacFarlane into Speed Racer instead, and there you go. That's
okay,
that's the prequel I need.
Speaking of Speed Racer, I keep getting. I'm pretty sure I told you guys. I keep getting random like Speed Racer clips, like suggested to me on YouTube, like little like 10 to 20-second clips from the anime, just suggested to me on YouTube, and it is like proof that Speed Racer's a sociopath. Like it's and it's these.
I think I've seen that clip.
There's little clips. There's a ton of them where. Like he's racing, right? And like Trixie is in a helicopter above, right? And just flying. And it's like, speed. Like, why? You should let him win. And he's like, no, why should I let him win? Trixie's like, because like you don't need to win. And like if he wins, like he can pay for his sister's surgery and pay for the hospital bills. And he's all like, no, but I gotta win. And then like he beats the other person and then like is mad that like the other person got second. Like it's so fucking like absolutely weird that Speed Racer's so obsessed that even when like the morally correct answer should be like, I'll let him win so that he can pay for hospital bills, and he's like, yeah, but winning is everything. Like it's so fucking like psychotic. It is absolutely wild to me.
It wouldn't be fair if I let him win the race on purpose.
Right? Like he's just like, no, my morals are I can't let him win. He needs to win on his own.
He turns up the radio and speeds up.
Are you watching it right now?
Yes.
That's what I need Sebastian Stan to be doing in the prequel. Just random shit like that.
They're like,
it wouldn't be right. I've gotta win.
wouldn't be fair to all those people who already lost.
Good job, Speed. Brother's proud of you.
Can't cancel student loans. Other people have already had to pay them. Sorry.
Oh God, I know, right? Like,
but if people don't suffer through this, what will turn them into the soulless drones that do all of the stuff for us?
Exactly.
I don't know how else we're going to break people if we don't make them suffer through capitalism.
Honestly though, this movie, I needed to get it out there, like to you guys. I needed you guys to like get a bit of it, because it's just, to me, like Steven Soderbergh like having fun with heist movies again, and like just doing something completely like setting appropriate, like leave Vegas. We're leaving Vegas behind. I did like, you know, 11, 12, 13. Like let's go back to a heist movie. Let's pick a different setting, and it works. And then like that's the reason why, again, like seeing all these movies, right? I hate Army of the Dead so much as a bad heist movie. Like I just can't stand it. Like it just did. It wants to be. Like it wants to be. It does.
Does it?
It does.
I think it wants to flirt with heist movie, but not actually be one.
Did you watch the little 30-minute documentary thing, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to make like dude, we're gonna do this heist movie, but with zombies, and in Vegas we'll have a zombie tiger.
But there was only one heist scene in the whole thing.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
And somebody else needs to supervise the Snyders. Somebody needs to supervise Deborah Snyder so that when she's supervising Zach, she actually does a decent job.
She's an enabler. And that's not the same thing as someone who's fucking like caretaking what's happening.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's
like,
so
just say yes. He should actually tell him, Zach, that's a bad choice.
That's too much.
Zach, let's not waste $6 million on a CGI tiger. Let's make a good movie.
Like the CGI tiger is fine. Like again, it's kind of one of those things where you see how they scanned the whole city and they rebuilt it digitally. I'm like, that's all really cool, but ultimately, you're getting the wrong lesson from fucking James Cameron.
Right.
Like James Cameron is just obsessed with deep sea diving, and he wanted a studio to fucking fund him doing a Titanic dive. All right, like you are fucking like not getting the right lesson.
Right. Learn from Christopher Nolan, who does practical shots everywhere he can. Much better. And especially if you look at The Dark Knight Rises, the Heinz Field blowing up is not as compelling of a scene as like the opening of Dark Knight. Or I guess it's Dark Knight Rises still, isn't it? Where it's the plane drop.
Right. No, still Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, so I guess they blew the budget for the plane drop.
But it's weird how
it's practical.
Right, you start the movie with such a great practical bit, and then when you follow it up with that, it's not as impactful.
Don't get me wrong; it's my favorite scene in cinema because the Pittsburgh Steelers blowing up. It's. I just sometimes go back and rewatch it for fun. You missed Hines, but it's okay. It's okay.
Black and yellow just fell through the floor. Yes.
Oh, perfect. No. They're all gone. Oh. No more Steelers. Shit. Ben finally got what's coming to him, allegedly.
Allegedly, according to all those court documents.
Allegedly. According to the facts of the circumstances.
It's kind of interesting that they... Because again, even with I know for Dark Knight Rises and for other movies, they don't use official names for anything, but like for this movie, they definitely used NASCAR. There were NASCAR cars. Like there were some things there that were like really built the legitimacy of everything, like including the Charlotte Speedway. Like again, everything was.
You can't do a NASCAR movie and not have branding just because of what NASCAR is. It's brand. It is brand. So you have to have them in there. You can't generalize.
Listen, the replacements replaced all the names.
Replacements did a pretty good job.
I'll
give them that.
Like
nobody's nailed it quite like they have since.
Like there's some movies that I'm just like, wow, you clearly couldn't use the licensing rights. But like, fuck, you got it so close though. Like it's so close.
Replacements was good. They should actually rename the Washington football team the Washington Sentinels. That's a better name.
It would have. They still haven't come up with a name, right?
They have not.
The Sentinels would be good. Bring out Keanu Reeves.
Isn't doing so hot for
Cleveland. So. I mean, like they'll get over that. They'll...
Oh, I love the name, but apparently they're hitting trademark issues with that roller derby team. So
that's funny.
Always good to not clear your trademarks before you make a huge multi-billion-dollar decision.
Like, we're gonna make a branding deal. Let's not check with anybody about this.
Like, let's make sure we only change the first like 4 letters of the name so we can save money that way. But let's not check to see if anybody else is using it first.
I think if you call it the Sentinels and then you bring out Keanu Reeves to announce it, Gene Hackman can come back out, do a voiceover, and be like, "You gotta have heart." Like just literally quote the goddamn movie in your announcement with Gene Hackman and be like, "You gotta have heart, lots of heart." And and with this new team, we're gonna have lots of heart, the Sentinels, and it's just like, like, okay, like there you go. Like it would work. I think it could pull it off.
I don't hate it. Better than their old name.
But that's why I thought it's weird that they got a lot of brands and names, NASCAR, and it's not like normally you wouldn't really. Because again,
there's no obligation to like pay anything or anything as long as you apply the trademarks correctly. So like you can actually get away with using trademarks you don't have rights to as long as you do things correctly. It's just a very tight path to walk. And again, with NASCAR movies, you kind of have to.
Well, I think about Ghostbusters 2016 where what's her face is eating Pringles, and it's like in the commentary they're just like, "Oh, that was totally just improvised, like on the fly," and I'm like, "No, because you had to clear that. Like that's on camera. Someone had to sit there and fucking."
I know for sure you were eating a bag of Let's potato chips before then. Like we've all seen the fake brands. We know what it was.
Right. Like there's no haha, we accidentally let Pringles into the shot. Like haha. Like no, you don't do that. The fact that like so many just for like sports, like conferences, like a little not really a conference. What would you say? Like a press conference. Oh yeah, press conference. Like they sit there and they'll tape logos just to make sure that during this small snippet of time, you're not showing another brand because you're not allowed to show that brand. Blah blah blah. Like
I need you to understand like how thorough these contracts are. When we were under Nike at UAB, we would have people that would watch our games to see if there were logo violations. Like the reason why I'm so good at compliance for my current job is because I did it in a previous job that was actually much more difficult about it. But we would get emails after games. Hey, number 53 had his cleat spatted and he's not on the injury report list. So we need to make sure you actually don't spat over the cleats and show the Nike swoosh next time.
Spatted?
Spatted. When you wrap up the ankle around the shoe rather than putting it on the ankle itself and then putting the ankle in the shoe.
Learning terms here. Learning.
And when you do that, you cover up a minimum of 4 Nike swishes. And that's, a violation of your contract. So we would get a nasty email like, hey, can't be doing that. Obviously, if it was an injury thing, we were fine. But if a player was just doing it for aesthetics, he would get in trouble with our apparel provider and have to change. So yeah, they take shit like that very seriously. Very, very, very seriously.
Like it helps build again the setting and the realism, because like it's kind of weird because it doesn't necessarily paint NASCAR or like the Charlotte Speedway in a bad light, like, but like they do still get robbed, and like a lot of official places would be like, I don't want to show my place being robbed, like that looks basically like we're incompetent or blah blah blah.
Honestly, it shows them in being such a thorough and scaled operation that like it's probably looks better than it really is, so it probably doesn't hurt them at all.
Right.
Again, NASCAR, like they are just branding and just marketing, so they understand the value of being associated with things, even if it's not like the best association. And again, you have to do it with a NASCAR movie. Like if you look at Talladega Nights, you had to have brands involved, even though they weren't getting paid for it. They still used Perrier and Old Spice and all these other brands.
And I have a feeling they did get paid for Perrier.
They did not.
They didn't?
If you believe Adam McKay, which I have no reason not to specifically,
right.
They did not get paid for any of the product placement at all.
Wow, we're gonna need to tape up our chairs. We're gonna need to make sure that like we're not getting paid for this shit. Like nope. This I don't know what you're talking about.
Tape right there.
I got all of this up here too.
all these liquor sponsors.
didn't even notice you had all those liquor bottles.
Yeah, because he's ready for
I
an
even have my
earthquake to hit.
deodorant right there. Yeah, so they all just fall.
Yeah, they just fall and crack, and it's like the room becomes super dangerous.
Yeah, good.
Good plan. Monka thumbs
Do you
up.
ever
Exactly.
drink?
Do you drink?
Do you ever drink?
I have not drank since quarantine began.
Dang.
So
I feel that.
Not too far off from me. It's been over a year now. Yeah,
But overall, I think extremely good movie.
it's a good movie.
Like I recommend that other people watch it.
I
Yeah,
liked it a
for some
lot
reason-
more than I thought I would.
Yeah. If for some reason you said this entire thing and listen to us talk about a movie you've never seen, you should probably see that movie.
Yeah, I think that it has a lot of good humor, a lot of heart. The characters are solid. Everyone has like a bit of characterization that's really good. That you don't sit there and hate. Like they're not. It's not like token badasses everywhere. And again, I'm gonna go back to hating Army of the Dead. Where suddenly everyone becomes badasses with weapons, and suddenly everyone's getting every single headshot, like because you have to incorporate the zombie movie part. Like, oh, suddenly everyone can kill zombies like super efficiently, and they're great at it. They're amazing. Everyone's good with their weapons, and everyone's good with the plan. And hate it. Like here, everything just kind of there's little fumbles, but like nothing is overly complicated. Nothing is overly like convoluted. Like people are like taking trash bags of money out. That's it.
A good heist shouldn't be overly complicated. There should be complications, but the idea should be pretty straightforward. Otherwise, it's not a compelling heist to the people pulling it off. If it doesn't seem like it's an easy thing that you could just do fairly simply without any issues, they wouldn't do it. Like,
Well, I mean, that's the thing about like Ocean's 11, where it's kind of like we need a guy who can fit in a suitcase and then like traverse all the lasers and this and that. The security systems are like, I'm okay with a bit of like high tech like stuff, but like,
right, it can be complicated. Like there can be complications.
like for this one, it's so simple. Like it's just so
The basic idea
straightforward.
needs to be-
Yeah, it's super straightforward, and I definitely like that about this movie. That it feels relatable to their plight for the reason why they're doing it. Like it's not just petty revenge. It's not this or that. It's not like we're here for the money. Like like no, everyone kind of has a thing. Like the only reason Joe Bang fucking gets involved is because like he basically got robbed, and so he's like, well, shit. Like when I get out, I need something. Like shit.
Right.
So he's in. Like it's fine. Fuck it. He's in. Like I don't know. It's good. I
did really enjoy them kind of teasing that out too, of him thinking that he got ripped off, and that he gave all the money back. Like I did think that was kind of fun. I expected it to pull up at some point, which it did, but like I really enjoyed it.
And honestly, like, it's the reason why Knives Out wasn't like too big of a surprise to me with a Southern accent. Like when he did it, I was kind of like, oh, cool, he's doing it again. Oh look, it's back. It's Benoit Blanc. Like all right, like it's why I'm hoping that if they do go ahead with more movies, like and
They supposedly are.
they're supposedly going to do more with Benoit Blanc, and I'm like, ugh, good. Let Daniel Craig have another franchise that's not Bond. That's like one that he can have tons of fun in, and it's still compelling. Like, let's do it, please.
I'm still kind of shocked that they went with Daniel Craig for Bond and not like Henry Cavill or somebody more traditional, just for them to run the franchise into the ground and then it just not do anything anymore. Like,
well, I mean, if you
what
heard
a weird property.
If you heard about what Daniel Craig's main complaint was, they couldn't really do cheesy. They had to go super serious because of Austin Powers. Yeah, and it's like,
which I don't agree.
Like it's like, yeah,
absolutely could have just kept doing Bond and it would have been fine.
Yeah, like no one asked for
Bond
you
wasn't overly serious in the 90s. I mean, it was very tongue in cheek, but it still had some serious overtones. So, like, what was the issue? We actually went back and watched A Spy Who Shagged Me recently, and it actually holds up.
Not
I'm kind of surprised.
International Man of Mystery.
Or yeah, that one first. Sorry, I always get them.
Yeah, so Spidey Shaggy was 2, and then Goldmember's 3.
Yeah. No, International Man of Mystery. No, holds up pretty well. Like, kind of surprised.
Ladies and
Did not expect it to
gentlemen,
hold up at all.
Burt Bacharach. Like, I was just like, all right, yeah, he was still alive in the 90s. Let's bring him out. Like, I'm cool with this.
I think my favorite joke from that is, Austin wakes up from the cryogenesis or whatever. And
Evacuation.
Basil's like, oh, and here's the Russian general, and he's like, oh, so communism won. Yeah, fuck those capitalists.
He's like, yay, capitalism. Like, Austin, we won. Oh, yeah, yay, capitalism. I think that, again, tangent, Austin Powers tangent, right? It was kind of like one of my favorite parts about that opening scene is kind of like, I seem to have problem controlling the volume of my voice. And it's just like, it's random and serves nothing other than like, it just, there's something extra stupid for Mike Myers to do.
It felt very SNL, which is what it should feel like in circumstances.
Yeah, I don't know. I like a movie that can. It looks like everyone involved is having fun.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what this movie definitely felt like. I feel like, and not just like fun in the sense that, like, again, there's a difference between written comedy with some slight improv thrown in, like people that are like, smart and quippy, like, versus pure, hey, let's run the camera, do 72 takes, and whatever we find the funniest is what we cut out of there. Like, 2016 Ghostbusters is a prime example. I need it to be more written. I can't just sit there, have you telling jokes and have like 72,000 alternate takes in the extras of the DVD.
Even if that's what the original was, even if the original was catching lightning in a bottle based off of people riffing and that kind of thing, you can't just replicate it.
Because you're not them. Because you're not them.
Right. You are not the original Ghostbusters. So don't be.
Like, it's just so weird. And you know how you know that? Because Ghostbusters 2 was not really, even with them, it wasn't really the same.
Right.
Like, it's just weird. I still like it. But again, you don't try to replicate the same thing again, which is why it's weird that Ghostbusters Afterlife feels like a fucking Steven Spielberg movie. And I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway.
It does.
Tangent.
I'm ready for a Spielberg game.
I'm ready. Well, I mean, I want to talk about Gene Hackman movies at some point.
I'm ready for any tangent. Just give me one and I'll do it.
But like a Spielberg tangent, like when Spielberg's good, Spielberg's good.
I do think we're gonna watch the Nolan Batman movies. If y'all want to watch those and have them in the back of your head, we can talk about them.
It's a nice
I
little.
haven't watched them in years.
Well, I gotta watch the first one, so.
I really like that movie. I saw Batman Begins in a very unusual situation. It was while I was
away.
But did manage to see it in theaters. One of 2 new movies I saw during those 2 years I was going.
Interesting. What's the other movie?
So, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh.
Oh. Want to know how bad my life was at the time?
I got to see Revenge of the Sith in theater.
It was the best day in months.
Oh.
I mean, I watched it in theaters, so.
I mean, I also did.
Slightly different.
And I was just, the circumstances are kind of different. But anyway, yeah, I love this movie, and I'm glad that you guys actually enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. I do want to see more Soderbergh heists. I don't need to see a sequel to this, but more heists, more good heists with compelling characters with decent amounts of characterization. I know I don't ask for much, but
Interesting. Apparently, this was I guess that makes sense, right? The film was distributed by Cutting Out Studios in order for him to have creative control and make money directly from the film itself. Like it was again you could tell that the budget was low, but they were clearly having fun and enjoying the concept and everything. So
I was gonna say too that's one of the benefits of filming at an actual event too, is you can just film the event. You don't have to hire extras. Just film the Coca-Cola 600. That's all you got to do. Easy peasy. Film a couple other scenes on a soundstage in another day, and splice them, and there you go.
But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. I think again, Logan Lucky, go fucking watch it. It's very good, very funny, very heartfelt. It's a heist movie. If that's the thing that interests you at all,
If you like heists like we do,
it will make you hate Army of the Dead more. If you're me,
which is a bonus.
Which is a bonus. Like honestly,
not advertised, but just a nice little extra.
Like I don't say as much as I think that Snyder has a good eye, I think that like he definitely has had a number of misses, you know. Like, and that's just and that's how I feel about Zack Snyder. I'm gonna be an outrage farmer now. Like Snyder.
Yeah, I mentioned that Zack Snyder is the worst person to ever make a film ever.
He's never had a good film, except for the ones that are good.
Literally no,
but never. He has no good movies.
He has one that's okay, and James Gunn wrote it, so
he has a few good ones. When you again, like I said, if you put him on rails, like again, you give him 300, it's on rails.
Man, if you could get somebody that's really decent at story to work with him, like
give someone else the pin and let him just fucking hold the camera, it would be amazing. Again, it's the same argument that I have for like what happened in Star Wars. Like what Disney had no plan, which is weird. But like the best Star Wars movies are you have someone write it and then like someone else direct it.
Right.
Like that works the best. Like
someone who's not like beholden to that property, so they're not trying to force things in that don't work. You need somebody who's divorced from it, so they can say, "Hey, this scene doesn't work. Let's cut it," and they don't take it personally.
Right, like it's not like, oh, but it has to be. It's super. It
has to be the scene. Like no, we don't need extensive trade negotiations in my space opera. I just don't.
Sometimes I do. No, I'm kidding.
If it was a space political thriller, I'd be into it. The story of Palpatine could be really cool.
You know, if we're gonna go into this rant, because I was gonna end it, but if we're gonna go into this rant, right? So you have political thrillers. Like I recently saw Some of All Fears, and it's like Jack Ryan is a CIA analyst, and they go over the fact that he is not an action person. Like he just isn't, which is why like I haven't seen the Jack Ryan show. But seeing John Krasinski holding a fucking rifle as if he is Action Man makes me not want to watch it. Because Jack Ryan's a fucking analyst.
He looks like Gary Oldman. I see somebody with like a beer belly and some like thinning hair. Like,
it's why I thought that it was great when it was Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison Ford was great because he's kind of that begrudging action.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be here. Like, I want.
God damn it!
I'm a desk jockey.
Action movie.
Yeah, like I'm a desk jockey who looks at numbers and like.
I'm an academic.
It belongs in a museum. And yeah, so I'm like, where's that sci-fi movie? Like, where's that?
Again, there's some cool takes on things. It would be really neat if people weren't so afraid of mixing genres.
Yeah, like where's
I'm still waiting on my Marvel. Still waiting on my Marvel legal thriller.
The courtroom drama. Oh my god! Could we get She-Hulk? She-Hulk versus Daredevil. There you go. That's the courtroom drama.
It would be incredible, and there's no reason why that can't happen. They are doing a She-Hulk property. It's been enough time since a Netflix show so you could get what's his face?
The rights back? And
Charlie Cox.
Can they get the rights back?
You can get Charlie Cox back. Yeah, it was 3 years. It's been 3 years.
Okay.
We passed that part. So yeah, they could come back. I'm just saying, I would lose my shit if we could just get a little bit of a legal, like even like a C plot in the She-Hulk thing, and then we get Matt Murdock back in. I would die happy.
Yeah, they could do something with that. With
It would be so.
Because like it's one of those
Daredevil. Oh yeah, Daredevil like defending Spider-Man for the
Yeah.
supposed
Fuck yeah.
murder of Mysterio.
Fuck yeah. Like, come on, let's do it.
Okay, so
Let's do some weird shit.
So then you also though, and like it's one of those things where the main focus is the courtroom drama, obviously. But you know how they normally have the out of courtroom scenes where they're like, I think of not just My Cousin Vinny, but what is A Few Good Men, where they're outside of the courtroom and they're sitting there talking about it. I want them doing that while fighting crime and shit. Like, so there's like they're the opposing sides, but like they're doing shit and then like they meet up out in the world, they're fighting crime, and there's kind of like, you know, that defense is bullshit, right? Like, you know that he's lying. It's kind of like,
see, and I think there's an interesting story to tell there with She-Hulk and Daredevil. Like, you have them going against each other in court, you have them going against each other in their superhero identities, then you have some sort of way for them to realize they're actually on the same team and then team up against the actual thing. I mean, it's typical.
It's
stuff,
pretty.
like,
it's pretty.
It's an interesting take on it, though. I want to see people do different shit. Like, we almost got a heist movie in the Marvel universe with the Ant-Man stuff,
and it's one of those things where I understand like Marvel's hesitation back in 2006.
Right, but look at now.
But now
we all know it would have worked just fine. Taika Waititi made a Thor movie and everybody loved it. Like, it would be fine.
But again, the first risk they made was Guardians of the Galaxy. Like they made a space adventure, and everyone thought space adventure was dead. They're kind of like, people didn't like the Star Wars prequels. No one's gonna like this. Oh my god! And then Guardians came out, and they're kind of like, oh fuck, we were wrong. We were just wrong.
They fully did not understand what the problem with the Star Wars prequels.
They just needed a good movie to like, and they were like, fuck.
Just make a good movie.
Make a good movie,
Not
forehead.
Even that, like, if you had even just made the Star Wars prequels exactly as is, but used actual sets and actual armor rather than CGIing everything, I think it would have been a much more well-received book. Just for that one change.
But I gotta have my coffee behind Video Village, and
it just doesn't look like Star Wars. Star Wars is supposed to be that gritty realism of a space opera. Like, yes, it's a spaceship, but also
what space
dirty,
western. Like, you need the dirty western part of it.
Yes.
Like, for it to work.
Like, we didn't have that.
We didn't have it. You know what did have that? Mandalorian. And that's the reason why
Batch even has that to a certain degree.
Yeah, but you can do anything like through that. Like, I think that what Mandalorian pulled off is like, how do you incorporate both the most advanced technology you could ever fucking come up with and also make it look real? Like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
How do we spend significantly more money but make it look like we spent significantly less? That's the key.
What is there's a Say Anything lyric where it's talking about like the realness of himself, about his neuroses, where he was like, I worry about how this album will sell because I think it'll determine the amount of sex I'll have in the future. He's like, I spend hours in front of the mirror making myself look elegantly disheveled. Right. And it's like, that's what it is. Like, I need to spend as much time as I can to make this look kind of shitty. Like, as if it was just like dirty shooting, but they're in this fucking facility. Like, they're in this grand facility. It's like, how do we make it look cheaper? How do we make it elegantly disheveled? Like, that's the trick. I think that's why I don't know. I don't know if that's why Logan Lucky didn't fucking do well though as advertising. This movie's great. Like, I love this movie. This movie's good, but
it makes sense if they tried to go outside of the studio system to advertise and to produce it, that they didn't get the advertising you would have gotten. That's what the studio really brings to the table, is they can get that.
I mean, I didn't know this movie existed until you
I remember
told me to watch it.
The name, but nothing about it.
Like, that's what it's so weird.
And again, it kind of came at like a doldrum of an August. Like, August is not historically the best time for movies, but can be. I mean, Dark Knight was an August release, made $1 billion.
It's kind of one of those things where like more and more that entire line of thinking of when to release movies gets destroyed because like they wanted to have Titanic, be that sort of like it was supposed to be a winter movie, right? And then it came out in the summer, or was it the different? Was it supposed to be summer and then it came out in the winter? It was one of those things. One of those things where they're kind of like, this isn't going to be successful during this time because this type of movie only works successful here, and it's like that doesn't matter anymore. The only thing that matters, and it pisses me off when they do it now, is if a horror movie is not in the fall. Like if you don't, if at least like late summer, early fall ish, those months
needs to be cold.
Yeah,
horror movies have to be cold. Sorry, they just do.
If you release a fucking horror movie in March, I'm gonna be mad.
Unless there is a specific reason. If it's an Easter themed horror movie released in April, fuck yeah, go for it. Like whatever.
But like April other than Fools.
That. I'm kind of sad we didn't see more like holiday. Like for a minute there, we were seeing like Leap Day and like Arbor Day. I don't know, Secretary. I don't know, fuck, like dumb shit. But like, I don't know, that would have been fun.
They are, but they're really, really cheap, shitty movies that came out on VHS.
They spend all of the money on getting the names involved, and they don't have anybody to write the damn thing. It's like, okay, we got 12 really expensive actors. They have nothing to do.
But like a Christmas movie, you can still release in the fall-ish. Like you can release a Christmas movie in November.
It's a horror movie at Christmas. That's fine. That's still fall.
But like, I'm talking about like the first half of the year. Like, it's May. Here's a Halloween movie. Like, no.
We just hit the summer. It's June. It's getting hot out. Let's go see the Halloween.
Like, no. Like, I need that to be a Halloween movie, please.
You need to walk out and feel a little chill and see some dead leaves and feel like, oh shit, it's Michael Myers.
Am I in the movie?
Am I gonna die right now?
Am I here? No, but you said that Logan Lucky was released in August?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It released alongside Hitman's Bodyguard, and that's basically it. Like I said, Ingrid Goes West released, but I think that was a limited release. It wasn't like a big one. Those are the only ones I know from that time period. Like nothing major.
I mean, like I said, this movie is just fun.
It's too good to be as unknown as it seems to be.
Right, and I like movies that are just fun. Just give me fun movies. That's all I need. I
don't even care if they're dumb. Like again, comparing to Suicide Squads, like the second one's much more fun, and therefore
they seem to be having fun.
They do. They seem like they're having fun. I think they did have fun.
The set photos made it seem like everyone's having fun because they know that like what they're doing is like silly.
Yeah, like that's the whole point, so you can roll with it. Like, Idris Elba is definitely having fun.
A lot of fun there.
He's just playing his Luther character, but as a supervillain, and just having a blast doing it. I love Idris Elba.
Anyway, I think that's gonna wrap up the actual episode for this week. I hope everyone watches. Logan Lucky. Follow on the Twitters. Follow on the stuff. Hit subscribe. Like subscribe. What the things that you do.
Yeah.
Like
hit the bell.
If you listen to the audio version, I appreciate it. There's definitely a few people who do that. Like there's options on how you can enjoy us bullshitting about movies and other things.
How are we gonna have a parasocial relationship if you don't do all the work?
Exactly. Like, how are you gonna have this fantasy that I am your friend if you don't listen? Because that's what I want you to think. I want you to think that I'm your friend. I have no friends. The only friends I have are here with me right now.
I mean, that's actually kind of true.
Anyway, thanks everybody. Catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
You guys are